or where our families are from around the world, we'll lose. And in Pittsburgh, we're pragmatic, and we find solutions to problems. We will not try to rationalize irrational behavior. We will not try to figure out ways in order to lessen the degree of crimes such as this. We will work to eradicate it. We will work to eradicate it from our city, from our nation, and our world. Hatred will not have a place anywhere, and we will work locally to make those changes happen, and we will work with partners around this country and around this world to make sure that it ends. I want to thank again all of those in this room, the elected officials who are gathered, those that have worked on the front line of public safety, those that worked within public works and other parts of government in order to be able to assure the safety of our people. And we'll open it up to questions at this time.
Was the fourth officer injured? The three were injured by the suspect. What? It's either flying glass or a bullet fragment that ricocheted off something.
Is there any indication that the alleged shooter had cased out the synagogue or had any familiarity with it before Saturday?
We don't have any information on that at this point.
Was the weapon used in the shooting of the AR-15?
Know that all the weapons he brought into the facility with him were used.
Scott, a lot of people have asked if this is a case of domestic terrorism. Can you speak to that?
We are treating this as a hate crime. As Special Agent in Charge Jones said, there's no indication that he's working with anyone else, and so we have charged it and are treating it as a hate crime, but continue to investigate.
And just to elaborate, the distinction of domestic terrorism would need to involve what?
The distinction between a hate crime and domestic terrorism is hate crime is where an individual is animated by a hatred or certain animus toward a person of certain ethnicity or religious faith, and it becomes domestic terrorism where there is an ideology that person is then also trying to propagate through violence. And so we continue to see where that line is, but for now, at this place in our investigation, we're treating it as a hate crime, charging it as such.
So you say he was an AR-15, and what are the other weapons?
He had three Glock handguns with him.
3 Glock.
The first two officers who confronted the suspect, could you clarify where that occurred? Was it outside the building? And have you determined whether or not the shooting inside he had done the shooting he was going to do, or there was a potential for more shooting outside?
From what we know at this point, I know that he was exiting the building. I'm not sure if it was in the doorway, or just inside, or just outside. Your second question again?
Was whether or not there was an idea that that the shooting he had done inside he had concluded that, or he was going to shoot.
It appears at this point that he had finished and he was exiting the building.
And there was some reference to the possibility of additional shooting. Is that the idea that he had more ammunition? He's going somewhere else?
We don't know of any plans to conduct additional shootings. My comments were meant in this fashion. There would have been a violent encounter probably as he left at some point. That's what I mean by additional acts of violence.
What's the estimate on how many people were inside the synagogue at the time, and did anyone try to fight back?
Don't know that at this time.
Do you know what was going on inside the synagogue at the time? What kind of ceremony or
I actually don't know the specifics. There are 3 congregations that meet in the same building. So I'm assuming all 3 were holding services, but I actually don't know for sure.
And do we know which community? Was this one specific congregation, the victims?
No, I think they come from, from what I know, they come from all 3.
So he moved throughout the building because they were holding services in different places in the temple, right?
I don't know the motivation of where he moved and why, but as been said, he moved through the building and there were 3 separate congregations conducting services.
So the victims were in different places?
Yes.
How long did this last? How long between the time he entered and the time they engaged outside?
We're estimating at this point 20 minutes or so, but we don't know that for sure.
That's 20 minutes period between the police shootout and the initial attack, or 20 minutes for the initial?
All I can tell you at this point is that the initial shots fired comments were at 9:45. We know that that the EMS call went out at 9:54, and that the officer engaged in at some point after that. So that's a very rough estimate.
Do you have any idea why he went into this synagogue?
Don't know why he picked this particular synagogue.
Can you elaborate at all on the alleged shooter's condition at this point?
Still, he remains in fair condition at Allegheny General Hospital with multiple gunshot wounds.
Will the families be able to bury their dead within 24 hours, which is customary by Jewish law, or will the investigation delay that?
We have representatives, rabbis at the office. We're doing everything we can to balance, as I say, what we need to do as a criminal investigation with the needs of the families. So we're just in the initial stages of processing the bodies and knowing we will make sure we can do everything we can to make sure that we can release the bodies in the shortest possible time frame, making sure that we get the information we need to carry on the criminal investigation.
Will there be funerals today?
Today, no. We hope to release the bodies. Some of the bodies will be released today. How many, I'm not sure.
Were shots fired at all three services, and do you have any handle on how many shots in all were fired?
Lots of shots were fired. There were casings everywhere, but
were they in all three services, the three different services?
I'll have to refer to the investigation that's going on. There were different activities going on in different parts of the building, so yes.
Are investigators looking at any surveillance footage that may have been inside the synagogue?
Pardon me?
Sorry, any surveillance footage that's being reviewed right now?
We're attempting to see if there were surveillance cameras in position where we could capture footage, but we'll look at the neighborhood and try to find everything we can.
Roger, was there anyone armed inside who may have tried to find the gun?
I have no information at that.
From what he said, were the most of the shots fired within common areas, or did he actually go into chapel sanctuaries?
All we can tell you right now is that there were 3 different locations inside the facility where we found deceased folks.
Do we know how he obtained his firearms? Purchased them?
I personally don't have that information right now, but we're working closely with our ATF partners. I think we have.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask you a question? Mr. Mayor,
yes.
In learning a lesson from this appalling tragedy, is it not time for the political classes to get together and talk about getting the gun out of American society?
I've heard the president's comments of how we should arm guards in our synagogues, our churches, our mosques. I've heard the conversation over the past year about how we should arm security guards in our schools. We're dealing with irrational behavior. There is no way that you can rationalize a person walking into a synagogue during services and taking the lives of 11 people. We shouldn't be trying to find ways to minimize the dangers that occur from irrational behavior. We should be working to eliminate irrational behavior and the empowerment of people who would seek to cause this type of carnage from continuing. I think the approach that we need to be looking at is how we take the guns, which is the common denominator of every mass shooting in America, out of the hands of those that are looking to express hatred through murder.
Last question.
Question for Police Chief Schubert. Sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, what do you think of the international attention that we're getting, and how do you think that it's going to affect the midterm election?
I have no idea how it affects elections, but I will say this, that the outpouring of love and support for Pittsburgh is incredibly appreciated during this time. And there is a commonality throughout the world of people who have had enough of this type of hate based upon somebody's practice of religion or somebody's national origin. There is an outpouring that is being heard through the people of Pittsburgh right now of where people want to see society move towards. And it is not about finding ways to divide us. It is about finding ways that unite us through our commonality as humans. Let this horrific episode be another mark in the march of humanity towards recognizing that we are all one.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, are we going to 10 or no? Are we going live in 10 or just